Welcome back to the Gurry Performance Podcast, brought to you by the Baseball Blue Book. This is your host, Chase Gerbic, and today we have a very special guest, Coach Casey Demko with Abilene Christian. Coach Demko played at Ohio State, transferred to Sinclair, where he played junior college, and they won the World Series that year. Very, very impressive. Always a great program. And then transferred to Coker to finish out his baseball career. Started out his coaching career at Quincy, very, very competitive school, and now serves as the infield coach at Abilene Christian. Coach, thanks for coming on today.
Appreciate it, Chase. Always good talking to you, man.
Absolutely. So the first question I have for you is, there's so many players, parents, and even travel coaches on this podcast. And I think, they all want to know, how can I get recruited, or how can I get my player recruited?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely today, I think it's a little different process than the years past. With that being said, I do think there are a few tangibles that remain consistent as it goes on. I think today's age, it's a social media age. I think the biggest thing you can do for yourself as a player is, you're your own self-promoter. Go promote yourself. What does that look like? Like, social media is huge. Social media presence is big. Who you're following is big. What you're liking is big. What you're promoting is ginormous. So find a process that works for you and promote it like it's the best company and it's the best product out there. Take videos of you hitting, take videos of you throwing, lifting weights, clip them up, make them short, blast them out. It's your own recruiting profile. So that being said, man, the recruiting process is different for everyone.
Yeah.
I think if you ask this question to anyone, you might get 10 to 15, 20 different answers if you ask 20 people,
Right.
So the recruiting process for you might look totally different than what it looked like for me. But I think a great way to start, especially for younger guys, man, it's hop on social media, promote yourself, show what you do well, show what you do bad. Like, you're not going to hide anything. We're going to find out what you do behind the scenes if we really have interest. So promote it all. You're either going to be a fit or you're going to be not. So.
Absolutely. I think it's a great point because everybody has a phone nowadays and everybody's in that age. And I think, kids get so caught up in, what video should I show? How, frequently should I email? And some of them are even bashful to send it out. But, it's really your chance to sell yourself and brag about yourself. But when we're talking about videos, Coach, you talked about getting videos of your swing, if you're an infielder, getting some ground balls in there, even including some weightlifting clips. What's kind of the fine line, if there is one, between game footage and practice footage? Is there a certain type of film, you would recommend seeing? What does that kind of look like on your end?
Yeah, man, for me, I think the shorter the better. I think I can vouch for a pretty large percentage of college coaches when I say this, man. I don't think we're going to sit here and watch a 5 to 6 minute video of every downtime when the pitcher's grabbing the ball and walking back. Like, utilize your phone, the iMovie app. Like, there's a lot of different apps out there that you can use to clip videos, make little portions. On my end, man, it's 15 to 20-second video every 2 weeks, every month. Nothing crazy. You'll get the people that send them out pretty frequently, twice a week, 3 times a week. Like, for us, we want to see the changes you make over weeks, months. Hard for us to kind of mark day by day. So
right.
I think there's a certain feel for it. If you think you're emailing someone too much, then you probably are. If you think that you're overdoing it, then you probably are. So I think there's a little feel with it, but definitely, man, on our end, it's 15 to 20-second video. Show what you do well. Show your ball throwing across the infield a little bit. What carry do you have? Show your footwork, a couple swings. That's it.
Perfect. Now you talked about incorporating different angles in the video, like you just touched on. The ball flight when you're throwing, see if it's carrying. Where you're able to see the arm slot, right? But what are some things that you look for in the videos, particularly when it comes to pitchers, hitters, and infielders or outfielders as well?
Yeah, personally, and I think it aligns really well with ACU's mission, man. It's hard to tell over video, but energy is a big thing. It's a big deal. Whichever program you're at in the country, I don't think a college coach is going to recruit someone who's moping around, has slow feet,
right?
Doesn't look like they have a motor, or doesn't really look like they give crap at the end of the day. So personally, for me and for ACU, man, we're looking for guys with high motors. We're looking for guys with a lot of energy. And I think our coaches on staff here have done an absolutely phenomenal job of that in the years past. You know, this is only year 2 for me, so I'm just kind of hopping in and trying to add value whenever I can. So definitely going off their coattails with that. But, yeah, man, we're looking on the videos of we want to see guys that have really good footwork in the infield. We want to see pitchers that can command their ball, not just one ball. You know, we like to have off speed, all for strikes. You know, you're not just looking for a one trick there. So there's a command aspect to it. There's a footwork, athleticism aspect to it. Offensively, you know, it's not a lot of hook pull. If you hit the ball 10 times over the fence in BP, like, sweet, man, they're all down the left field line. What happens when we throw you a slider on the outside half? Like, they don't show that in the highlight reels.
Right.
So, yeah, offensively, man, it's the whole field. Backspun line drives up the middle. Pretty simple.
Absolutely. Now, when you go to see a guy in person, you don't have that flexibility to be able to watch film over and over again and see, what they're doing over, repetitively. So when you go see a guy in person, they get about, 2, 3, 4 at bats, right? So during those at bats, even a pitcher, when they get their appearance, right, they're only going for a few innings. So, for all players, what are you looking for when they get, just a slight chance when you go see them in person?
Yeah, I think you can show up to a high school field and you can recruit a player. You can have an answer, a yes or a no answer when you leave the game, even if they didn't get one ground ball, one at bat, or if they didn't even start on the mound. I think we as college coaches can have an answer when we leave. It starts with preparation. It starts with what kind of teammate are you? Are you locked in on the game? Are you the first one out of the dugout giving the guy the high five when he hits a home run? What kind of person are you? I think goes a lot deeper than, hey, man, I was 3 for 4 that day. Right. I hit a bomb. Like, yeah, man, come recruit me. Come on, coach, I hit 92. There's a lot of people that get so self-induced with the recruiting process where it's, hey, coach, I went 4 for 4 today. Like,
right.
Sweet. That doesn't tell the story. I'd rather take the guy that was 0 for 4 with the right outs than the 4 for 4 ground ball rollovers in the 6-hole. So there's a story to every game. Personally, man, when we go watch guys, like it's a high motor. It's bouncing around. It's their pre-pitch. Like, what does that look like? Outfielders, are you talking? Catchers, are you controlling the whole entire game? Pitchers, do you have some pace, right? Are you mixing? Are you on the mound? Are you a human rain delay, or are you keeping your defense into it? Offensively, what do your takes look like? What do your swing and misses look like? Like, what is your contact? So there's a bunch of things that go into it. But I think surface level stuff, man, it starts when you walk into the field. Like, are you prepared? I'm not one of those guys where it's like, hey, you're crossed off the list if you're wearing your Hey Dudes to the ballpark. If you wear your Hey Dudes to the ballpark and you're going to help us win, sweet.
Right.
Whatever, But, there's an aspect to it where when you walk through the gate, do you have a routine that works for you? If your buddy wants to talk a little extra on the bench about the weekend, do you talk with them, or do you go hammer out your J bands, your short hops? Like, what does your pregame look like? I think we could leave a game before the game even starts and kind of have a list of 3 to 4 guys that we want to follow for sure.
Right. Now, you talked about, things that you obviously love to see as a coach, and necessarily, it doesn't come down to tools. I mean, obviously you want guys who can play, but every coach wants a high energy guy. Every coach wants a leader, right? First guy out of the dugout when somebody hits a home run. First guy out, sprinting to his position. What are some write-offs when you go see a guy in person?
Yeah, that's a good question, and I think it's different for a lot of coaches. Like we talked about in the beginning, something that's a write-off for you might be a positive for me. Right. So, man, on our end, I don't think there's really one wrong thing where it's like you're automatically getting crossed off no matter what. Some people might say, hey, you throw a helmet, crossed off. On my end, hey, I think that shows a little bit of passion. Like, can we control it? Because that's hard to find. Yeah. That's a tough one for me, man. I don't think there's one thing that writes you off. I think there's a lot of things that add to a decision that might be a no or a cross off. And I think it's almost polar opposite of what we said we look for in the beginning. So, if you go out to the field and, hey, you're walking on the field, in between innings, you get 2 to 3 ground balls from your first baseman. Like, are those 20% without moving your feet? Like, don't think that's something we want to really work with. I don't think there's one thing to say, well, I'm going to write a kid off if he does it, but there's definitely some variables that add to the equation for sure. Yeah.
Now talk about, I also want you to touch on, you mentioned something that, if you wear your Hey Dudes at the ballpark, and if you can play, right, and if you can help us win, we want you, right? There's a big conception out there that a lot of coaches want two sport athletes, 3 sport athletes. But
Sure.
In my mind, the way I see it, if I'm recruiting, I want a guy that can help us win, right? I want a guy who help us win, take care of it off the field. We can trust him to handle those responsibilities. So kind of touch on, what you think on that, if guys should play 2 or 3 sports, or, if you just look for guys who fit the mold.
Yeah, huge advocate of playing multiple sports. I think there is something to be learned in other sports that isn't learned on the baseball field. With that being said, at the end of the day, the best fit is going to get the most attention. If you got 2 of the same guys and they're the same exact player, like, yeah, I'm going to take the guy that played basketball and football, soccer, tennis.
Yeah.
Like, dude, golf can teach you some good things, man. You hit a bad shot, like, mentally, how do you react? Tennis can teach you it can teach you a lot of good things about being on time, receiving something coming really hard at you.
Yeah.
Soccer, footwork, phenomenal. Basketball, athleticism, football, strength, competitor. Like, there's a lot of lessons in a lot of different sports that can add to being a baseball player. So I think the more athletic you can get, the more situations that you're put in that challenge you mentally and physically outside of baseball, man, it's the better. Guys that have experience on Friday night under the lights in a stadium full of 2,000 to 3,000 people, when they walk in as a freshman, they might be a little bit more prepared than the guy that went to the lower level high school that only played baseball. So there's just some certain things that those guys possess than the guys that don't. Now, with that being said, it's not, hey, we're taking the multi-sport athlete, or I'm only interested in guys that play other sports, but it definitely won't hurt you experiencing different avenues with your body and trying to chase some other athletic goals.
Absolutely. That's great. I love to hear that. Now, with incoming freshmen, you just touched on, the mental side a little bit. Guys who are playing, on Friday night football games, maybe a little more prepared for that, game time situation when it comes down to the bottom of the ninth and they're up at the plate, right? Bases loaded. They might, even in the fall, when you come in, it's a high pressure situation. Everybody's trying to win a job, right? So for incoming freshmen, I would say even transfers and JUCO guys transferring in, talk about the mindset, the common, I shouldn't say struggle, but common adjustment you tend to see, and how guys can come in being ready to rock and roll mentally.
Yeah. In life and athletics, business world, whatever it may be, there's a time where your ego mind can die and you start to flourish because you're okay with failing. Failing is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Failing is the best tool you can have to learn. So I think the biggest thing with younger incoming guys, or even if it's just guys, it's first week of school, guys are starting to get back. You got 40 guys in a locker room, man. They're starting to size each other up a little bit. Like me and you are going after the shortstop job. I'm going to be watching your early work. I'm going to be watching what you do outside the field. Oh, you're not there up on Friday night? Like, all right, I'm going to go up there and do some short house by myself, try to get that edge on you.
Right.
Like there's a lot of that going on right now in our sport as a whole with guys returning to campus. The earlier someone can be okay with failing and learning how to fail, I think it's just going to absolute gaslight their career on and off the field and know, like, dude, our shirt, like it's ACU baseball, like we got 42 guys in a room. We're going after the same thing. It's not me versus you to win a job. If you win the job and you help us get to Omaha, take the job, man. I'm going to support you as hard and as strong as I can.
Right.
So I think just kind of circling back and answering your question, in short term, the easiest way for a freshman or a transfer, especially in the transfer portal world, to become acclimated with a program or college baseball in general, is being okay with not looking cool. I think the guys now that look cool and they want to call them chillers, like, you just want to be a guy that chills, like, yeah, man, why are you doing that? Like, right. Dude, that's not the cool. Like in 10 years, if me and you were teammates in college, like, I'm going to remember you for how you treated me. You know, I'm not going to remember if you hit 350 and you fielded 990 and you hit 15 home runs. Like, I'm going to remember if you were there for me when I had my 0 for 4 game. So I think that's the biggest thing when guys come in. It's, man, can we make you a better person, first off? And then can we teach you, like, dude, failing's awesome. Let's go out there and let's hit some ride velo and let's fail. Like, and that puts it on us. It's super important for us to define success. You know, what does success look like in this drill? It might be going 3 for 10. Awesome. Rock star round. You know, it might be going 1 for 10. You know, so that puts it on our end to paint a crystal clear image for the players of, it's okay to fail 7 out of 10 times this round. But hey, man, when we go on the field for a normal BP, if you're failing 7 out of 10, like, we're going to hold you accountable for that, because that wasn't success in that round. So, yeah, it definitely goes back and forth for sure. But the guys that come in that are younger, it's that ego, man. You want to look cool. You want to look like you got it all figured out. When the lights turn on and they say play ball, like, stuff doesn't matter, man. Give me some dude with some guts.
So with guys who, you know, whether they come to ACU or, you know, whether they go JUCO or, you know, whatever route they choose to go, for players who have trouble handling failure, you know, how, you know, from your perspective, how should they go about, you know, learning to deal with that, learning to cope with that? Is there any, you know, mental strategies they should use? You know, is it more of a trial and error? Kind of touch on that a little bit as well.
Yeah, I definitely think that you can teach someone right away, but ultimately I think the best way to learn is by doing it. You know, like, you're going to have some rough patches as a freshman, but knowing that they're going to come and being okay with learning, I think is the start to growth and the start to overall player and personal development. So, yeah, there's some tools that we use. You know, when I was at my previous school, Quincy, you know, we put together a mindset training package. You know, it was a lot of journaling. It was a lot of just opening up. You know, like, if I don't know my second baseman as a human being, how can I compete at the highest level when I'm standing 45 feet away from him?
Right.
And how can I expect him to turn this double play if I don't know how he ticks? So, yeah, there's some things we do, man. It's training, just like physical training. You know, it's mental. So there's reading, there's talking, there's a lot of journaling that help aid in the process. But I think the best way is, you're going to fail. It's going to be hard. You know, we're going to go out on the field and you're going to be really, really upset when you go 0 for 4 and you boot 4 balls today.
Right.
But you know what? When you come up in the office tomorrow and I can show you on the computer, hey, these are your 4 balls, this is why, that's when player development starts. Let's go out on the field. Let's create that connection. Let's bounce ideas and thoughts off of each other. Let's get to one. Let's hit the ground rolling.
That's fantastic. I think it's so cool how you establish, you know, that player-coach relationship early on. I think a lot more coaches need to be better at that. Need to be, you know, not treating their players, you know, especially, you know, how, you know, there's some organizations, you know, whether it's in pro ball, college, high school, that are so big, they don't take the chance to get to know their players on a personal level. And sometimes performance may not be a performance thing. It may be an off the field thing, right? Maybe something's happening with their family. Maybe something going on, you know, in the classroom, out of the classroom, right? So I think it's so important to get to know you guys as people first. I want to take the time to switch over to ACU. You know, you guys obviously have a very, very successful program. You know, one of the top programs in fielding percentage. You know, a very, very strong record this year. Talk about what makes you guys ACU.
Yeah, no doubt. Obviously, you know, we had a lot of success last year and really thankful for it. It's definitely doesn't just happen by accident.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going on year 2 here, and I would do myself a disservice if I said, like, oh yeah, man, we did well. Like, they were already running well before Casey Demko got here. You know, like, not that anyone cares what Casey Demko has to say. Like, I hope and pray when I show up to the office every day that I can add some sort of value to help get the guys down there better. So if I do, sweet. If I don't, then ACU is going to be fine for sure.
Yeah.
They're in really good hands. So yeah, with that being said, man, ACU is a very, very, very attractive place. It was attractive for me coming here. It was almost like the recruiting process and coaching. You start to learn, you start to put yourself through these different rituals of yes, no, pros, cons. What do you appreciate? What helps you be a better you? Are you going to grow? You go through these different assessments personally, and then you ultimately judge where you're at. And it's, hey, am I going to add value here? Am I adding too much value? Am I not? During that kind of recruiting, vetting, if you will, process at ACU, it was a no-brainer. Never been to Texas before in my life. When I got on a phone call with the head coach, Rick McCarty here, it was, dude, I'll come work and I'll come clean your bathrooms if I could just learn from you. Like, right. I will do whatever you want me to just to be in the same room to add value to the program. Yeah. And I think when you find a place like that, it's really, really special because then it doesn't feel like work. You're showing up every day aligned. Everyone's going the same direction and you're rolling. So right. ACU is different. It is trending in the right direction. Facilities are phenomenal. The people are phenomenal. The overall mission is what makes this place tick from the top to the bottom. President, AD, head coaches, assistant coaches, support staff, creative team, all the way down to our players. The mission and the goal is crystal clear. It is player development. If you ask, hey, what's ACU about? It is development as a person, development as a player. We have 3 whole parts of our program: student, person, player, right? Like person, we just talked about it. Person's in the middle. Yep. If you make the person better, it's going to make the student better and the player better.
Right.
So how can we make you be a better person? It's installing habits. Wake up every morning and take a shower. Something as simple as that. There's a whole blueprint to it, but there's a power behind showing back up. Coach McCarty talks about it every day. He talks about it all the time. He's done some podcasts too where would hop on it and take a listen because there's some gold in there. A leader of the people, you can't lead a team if you can't lead yourself. There's just a bunch of different things that overall gets ACU to a spot that nationally is very attractive. And to get where we're going is a must.
Yeah.
That we have slides on some PowerPoints that are giant killers. We have some signature win posts in our dugout to where our team room, where you go in and you see, hey, we just walked off Oklahoma at Globe Life. Like that's a signature win for the program. Like, how did that happen? Toughness, man. Freshman walked it off. Freshman wasn't supposed to play. Couple injuries. Our catcher found a spot playing third base. Dude walked it off at Globe Life a month before. Probably wasn't in the starting 9. I don't know.
Yeah.
So being prepared. If he wasn't prepared and didn't show up every day like he was the starting third baseman, probably wouldn't have had a lot of success in that situation he was put in. So there's a work component to it as well. Yeah. But ACU, man, it's different. The communication is clear. The message is crystal clear. Everyone's aligned, heading the right direction. Definitely a really fun place to be, and I'm absolutely blessed and honored to be a part of it.
That's fantastic. Now, that's so cool. The story about the freshman hits the walk-off, and I think that just comes with, like you said, preparing to be the starter every single day, whether you're the 4th string, 3rd string, 2nd string, right? Preparing to be the starter every single day. I want you to talk about, the importance of having that next man up mentality, if you're not the starter, because I think a lot of guys will pout, moan, complain when, they're in control of their own future, right? So talk about the importance of having that next man up mentality.
Yeah, no doubt. It's owning your role, from a player side, as hard as it is. You might be getting a red shirt. You might be injured. You might deserve a little more playing time than really what you're getting. Everyone's in a different walk of life and everyone's in a different season. But I think the biggest part with that is just, man, like you said, showing up every day like you're the starter. I can relate it to the infield side of things a little bit just because that's kind of the area that I'm at. Last year it was 1 through 12. How can we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and number 12 to a place mentally and physically to where they feel like, dude, whether your name's on that lineup or not, like you're the starter today and you're learning some way.
Right.
It might be a blowout game. We might be up 12 and it's, hey, let's put the bench in. Are you ready to go after you've been sitting down for 3 hours? Like, were you studying the shift cards? Were you studying BP? If you can ask an infielder, I think in 5 years and say, what did you learn while you were at ACU? Or what did you learn from working with Coach Demko? Hey man, I would say I was really prepared. I was ready for my shot. So I think that's the biggest thing we can do for them is finding a way. And it's hard now with some guys. The guy that might be 9, 10, or 11, or maybe even 12, like it's a different way to approach it. But when you look back at the previous goal of player development, personal development, and knowing that, hey, just because you might be a freshman, just because you're day 57 on campus doesn't look like the senior who's playing ahead of you, his 1100th day on campus. Like, dude, don't compare that because you'll fall into a trap where you just rabbit hole. There's a work aspect. I think that's where you can get people to believe in their role, setting out a plan for them as a player where, hey, you're our number 3 third baseman right now.
Right.
Here are the steps that I think you can make to maybe get a little more time, a spot start, or ultimately put you in a position to be our starter next year. So then that holds me accountable. It holds our player accountable to, hey, let's show up an hour before BP. Let's get a really good work in for a half an hour. And you know what? That might be your game for the day. But is it a win? Like, yeah, you just won that. You absolutely crushed it. Your energy was great. Like, check mark, 1% better today. See you again tomorrow. So I think that's where the preparation comes. It's not just, man, your name's not on the lineup today. Crap, maybe tomorrow.
Right. Now, staying on that preparation side, for high schoolers, when I tell guys who ask me what it takes to play at the next level, there's really no way to prepare for college baseball until you're in it. Right? So you're in there learning, hitting the grindstone and just working and learning from all the guys there. But in terms of preparation, what can high schoolers do to best prepare for college baseball?
Be in an environment where you don't feel like you are the top dog. I think that's the biggest thing. You get all these guys all the time, wherever they're at athletically. Hey, you committed to Ohio State as a sophomore. You committed to Vanderbilt as a freshman. You might be going JUCO and you're a senior. Like, doesn't matter. Make it personal and try to get in an environment that challenges you mentally, physically. So when you leave, it's, hey, I struggle with that. Let's go hammer it out this week. Hey, I just went to go field. The coach was hitting me really soft fungos, and I dominated it. Sweet, man. What happens when the guy's hitting 92, hammers it on your backhand? Does it eat you up, or are you prepared for it? Like, dude, go fail. Have your coach absolutely rip some fungos at you. Turn up the machine a little bit. Like, challenge yourself. That's the biggest thing I can say, man. Put yourself in an environment that pushes you, but also makes you fail. Failing's awesome.
That's gold right there. There was a saying a while ago I was told by a former player at San Diego State, Marshall Smith, said the more comfortable you can get to be in uncomfortable situations, the better off you're going to be. And that's something that has stuck with me ever since. But, Coach, it's been an absolute pleasure. I want to give you the floor here to close this thing out. Anything you have to say to players who want to play at the next level?
Yeah. I hopefully throughout this podcast there were a few things that you could have got. And, not saying that anyone will learn from what Casey Demko has to say, because at the end of the day, man, like, it's my job to show up every day and try to get those dudes better. So nothing special about me. I'm just trying to do my job as best as I can. But if there's anything that I can say to the younger guys coming up, man, it is do not compare yourself to the guy next to you. Run your own race. Diving into that a little bit, if I'm going against you and we're both class of 2026 shortstops, me and you commit to Texas, and I'm sitting here like, dude, I just went 3 for 4. That dude went 0 for 4 today. I'm playing shortstop. You're playing second. Like, dude, what are we? And then I'm like, man, I'm chasing you. And then it's like, well, look, I'm going to commit to somewhere else and tweet it out so then I look better than you. You know, dude, it hasn't even begun yet. Like, in a social media age, it's really easy to fall victim of looking at what someone else is doing. Run your own race, stay humble, put the work in. There's zero substitute for hard work. I was reading Michael Deegan's podcast the other day. Unbelievable, phenomenal. Like, talked about it's super easy to get accustomed with, hey, let's look for the easy drill to do, the new drill. What are infielders doing now? Oh, dude, I just saw someone doing this drill. Let's go do it. I just saw someone doing this secret hitting drill. Let's go do it. It's going to make me rake now. Like, there's a lesson to be learned with hard work. In today's age, it's not, hey, let's go run 2 miles for conditioning. You go ask any coach that, they're like, what does running 2 miles do for you? Yeah. Mentally, for me, dude, I fight some battles on that 2 mile run mentally. It's a clear space where I can think a little bit. Hey, how am I going to do that? How am I going to do this? So don't run someone else's race just because you see someone else doing something. Like, find something that you really believe in to the core. Go hammer it out. Work hard. Don't get so consumed in, hi, thank you. I am blessed to commit to ACU. Now the work's done. Oh, I made it.
Yeah.
Coach, I made it. It's done. You know, hasn't even begun. You know, you're not going to commit, or you're not going to post the decommitment tweet where it's, I'm blessed and thankful to enter the transfer portal because I wasn't physically fit. I wasn't ready mentally. I wasn't ready with my habits, and I was too busy sleeping in and going out on the weekends. So now I am going to decommit and go to wherever. You know, like, you don't see those tweets.
Right.
But it happens all the time. So, don't get worried about what the dude next to you is doing. Put your head down, do the work. Easier said than done. Just go do it.
Couldn't have said it better. Well, Coach Demko, it's been an absolute pleasure. Everyone, this is Casey Demko, infield coach at Abilene Christian. Thank you for tuning in to the Gerber Performance Podcast, brought to you by the Baseball Blue Book. This is your host, Chase Gerber. Coach, thanks for coming on today.
Appreciate it, brother. Always good talking to you.